Good afternoon, citizens of Tampa and board members. The Community Development Agency special call meeting will come to order for September 17, 2020. Can I have a roll call, Madam Clerk?
Beer,
Here.
Dingfelder,
Here.
Maniscalco,
Here.
Carlson,
Here.
Citro,
Here.
Miranda,
Here.
and Goods.
Here. Mr. Massey, before we begin public comment, can you give the rules and regulations, please?
Absolutely, Chairman. Morris Massey, Deputy City Attorney. This is a special call virtual meeting of the CRA held in accordance with the Declaration of Provisions of the Governor's Executive Order and CRA Resolution 2020-07. This means that this meeting will be conducted by remote participation or teleconferencing, which is referred to by State of Florida statutes and rules as communication media technology. We do allow several alternatives for public participation. So at this time, I would, the chair should ask to see if we have any public comment before we proceed with the agenda. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, anyone for public comment?
No, we did not receive any registered person to speak on any items. And also there's no one at the convention center, or we did not receive any recordings.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's start with item number 1.
Thank you, Chair. Michelle Van Loon, CRA Director. This item is for the acquisition of the property at 1312 North Tampa Street. We're requesting the CRA Board to reprogram $5 million from the fund balance of the neighborhood infrastructure budget in the downtown CRA into a line item for land acquisition so that we can effectuate the purchase of this property. And Rob and I are happy to answer any questions that the CRA board members may have.
Any questions from any members?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dingfelder, you're recognized.
Thank you. Yeah, in regard to the Army Navy acquisition, the property acquisition, I think it was a very thorough presentation earlier. I might have missed the part about the potential use for the property. In other words, what is the current density that's allowed on there? What's the comp plan? What's the comp plan density? That sort of thing. Are we doing a due diligence period for environmental analysis? Just some of those real estate kind of questions.
Hi, this is Rob Rosner. I'd be happy to answer those questions for you. With the first one, our intention was for workforce and affordable housing to a mixed use, mixed income development, and go through our normal redevelopment process for putting this out with an RFP. We'll be working with the Housing and Community Development Department to align with their capabilities and vision to help us with that. For the environmental piece of this, we had spoken with Dan Fahey from our solid waste department, who manages all of our brownfields and other environmental issues that we have. And on his suggestion, that we would not have a need for phase 1 environmental, as we've done some very close to this area just recently. So please, there's no concern for contamination on this property. He recommends that we waive the need for phase 1 environmental because there's very low impact on the decision of buying the parcel or not.
So we're confident there's never been a gas station on there or any similar type of environmental contaminant?
Yes, and he checked the FDEP's website about this and confirmed that there's no further beyond this particular owner has owned this for a very long time, and they've owned it since the late 70s, early 80s. So we know it hasn't changed a lot of hands, it had a lot of uses. So we've done that due diligence.
It's not very far from the old city graveyard. What, three blocks to the west. We're confident there's no concern about that as well.
For archaeological, because all of downtown was part and close to Brook and the things that are there, everything we do requires archaeological, but we do that at the time of we do construction and not necessarily the time of purchase. So that normally speaking, when we come in with a development agreement or development order for, doing a design development review, we require the archaeological report to be done at that time. And if there's any, now, as I mentioned earlier, there was the parcel that's directly across the street from us, catty corner from Fortune Street, is the townhomes that are being built. They just did their archaeological and they found nothing significant to be of any concern. We just did some work on our parking lot nearby, and that was why I called Dan Fahey, because I knew he had been doing some work, and he was, assured us that there's no issue here.
Okay, and the only thing you didn't mention was what type of density potential is on there right now, or are we going to have it a comp plan amendment and a zoning amendment?
No, the beauty of this being in downtown is that when we converted this to the form-based code for the central business district, they removed the FAR. It's supposed to be mixed use. We like mixed income because of what the things we're trying to do, but we will be requiring retail on first floor. We'll be requiring all the normal things that if this were a traditional development in downtown, which all these other projects have had to do. So the beauty of it is we're only limited by the height of the building, which is set by FAA. And, of course, just a couple blocks south of here, they were proposing a 53-story building, which was kind of the max. I don't know if this will ever be 53 stories, but you get the idea is that we do not have a FAR requirement because the central business district turned to form-based, and all those things made it so we didn't have to go through these extra steps.
And so for the layperson listening, how many units do we estimate we could have in terms of a range? Are we talking about 10 units, 100 units, 300 units?
Well, ideally we'd like to go, a lot of these buildings that have been built downtown that are traditional whole city block have been 300 units or better per acre. We hope that we can achieve something to that scale, but we'll have to work that out with the Housing and Community Development Department on what kind of size of units, the affordability of them, what things are we going to bring to the table to make those affordable. And ideally, I'd like to be in the 150th an acre. If we could.
That sounds great. And my last statement is not a question, but more of a suggestion. The Housing Authority has had tremendous experience on these types of public-private partnerships, especially with affordable housing. Most recently with Encore, et cetera, that you're very familiar with, Rob.
Yes.
I'm just wondering if we couldn't partner up or team up or use their skills and maybe even, if necessary, even hire them as a partner or something to help us and guide us through this. Because with all due respect to our staff, we're not used to these big projects like this. We're used to doing, at the most 100 houses with Domain. The biggest project that I've seen us take on in years. So I would encourage us to utilize the resources, the local resources of the Tampa Bay Housing or the Tampa Housing Authority as well.
Council member, this is Michelle Van Loan. We do that as part of our process. When we looked at the RFP for the land in West Tampa, we did include as part of our process a recommendation from Tampa Housing Authority. They look at the mix of housing in the area so that we don't overly concentrate any one type of housing, whether that's 80 AMI or 120 AMI or workforce. And they were wonderful for the West Tampa, coming back and saying, here's what's in the area, here's what they have, and recommending a certain percentage of mix. And they will do that also. We'll be requesting that also. I hope that they would do that also, but it is part of our process that we have internally to use their input and their expertise to help guide us as we start to come up with the criteria for the RFP.
Yeah, I think Mr. Leroy Moore, who you're very familiar with, and his team, you know, I would love to see them on your RFP panel, you know, in terms of putting out the best RFP possible and reviewing the responses. You know, we've got an amazing asset like Leroy in the community, and I think we should use them. So that's one man's opinion. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Dingfellow. Anyone else? Anyone with any comments? Ms. Van Loan, thank you for the information. Mr. Dingfellow kind of got some of my answers on the table. Just want to make sure that the CRA is giving this money. Is this going to be a collaborative effort that we're going to purchase this for the city, and the city is going to take over trying to get this housing done, or is it going to be a collaborative effort with our CRA, our CAC, and the city to make this all one effort?
Michelle, again, this will be a collaborative effort following our traditional CRA process. So as we did with West Tampa, Vanessa McCleary's group will be leading it. She will come talk to our CAC, get their input for the types of criteria and their priorities for this development. I assume that will include some things like parking, and as Rob mentioned, retail, some of the services, looking what's in the area and how we can complement this project with the area. We would also then take the input from our other partners, such as Tampa Housing Authority, looking at the recommendation from the Mayor's Housing Task Force, especially Vanessa and her people. And we would take all that information together, develop our draft of an RFP, and then bring that back to our CAC, deliver it to the CRA board at the same time that we deliver it to our CAC for final approval. And then it would get posted out publicly following our regular RFP process. We would be not trying to restrict the type of responses we could get. It could include land trust options. It could include land leases. It could include an outright sale with conditions of what that development. So we will not restrict the creativity of the private sector and coming back to us with what's the best way to meet the needs of the affordable and workforce housing that we're trying to attain.
I hear all that, but the last part kind of scares me a little bit when we say we get an outside partner and look at some restrictions. I think this could be a wonderful opportunity. You're saying it's downtown for all socioeconomic folks to be a part of downtown, to bring a mixed kind of base to downtown. So I'm hoping that we definitely make sure we look at that when we put these RFPs out, and whoever we decide how this project is going to go, to make sure that's going to happen. I think that's very important. Downtown is a very important asset, you know, and dealing with bringing a vibrant downtown, I think is very important. But I think it's very important that all mix of people live downtown as well. So I just want to make sure we keep that on the table, on the radar.
That's our intention.
I can give you my word. Yes, we will give you our word right now that it will have the main focus of this development will be affordable and workforce housing. Again, we will talk with the experts in the fields as to what that right and correct and recommended mix is. Again, as you mentioned, you see it at Renaissance and you see it at Encore. It is not 100% any one thing. We do expect that there will be some percentage of market rate, whether that is, you know, a 10 or 15 or 20% mix along with the affordable and workforce housing. We will look to our experts and partners to help us come up with that right mix.
Thank you. Anyone else for comment on this item? We'll take a time. I guess we can entertain a motion to move this item, number one.
Move.
Mr.
Second,
Moreno made the motion. Thank her Citro for second. Any discussion further? Any discussion further? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Viera,
Yes.
Petro,
Yes.
Dingfelder,
Yes.
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
and Goose.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number two, Ms. Van Loan.
I apologize. I don't have the special agenda right in front of me. What is item 2?
Downtown Non-Core Community Development Agency, fiscal year 2020 program, change, land acquisition.
Mr. Chair, Morris
That's
Massey,
what we-
Deputy City Attorney, they're related items. Number one was the CRA's approval of the resolution that City Council approved this morning, approving the contract. Number two is really what Ms. Van Loan was addressing, is the actual reprogramming of the $5 million for that purpose, for purchasing the property. So they're related items.
Okay, all right, so.
I apologize for that. Normally, the contracts themselves are not approved at CRA board meetings. They're included as the backup for the reprogramming. So I apologize. I did not realize they had separated them out as two items.
No problem. Being no further action, we'll open up for information reports and new business with CRA members.
Mr. Good, Councilman Good, I would go ahead and move item 2, just so it's clear on the record that you moved both items and you approve the reprogramming of the money.
Mr. Chairman, Miranda, move item number 2.
Motion, Mr. Chairman, from Mr. Miranda to move item number 2. Have a second?
Second, Maniscalco.
Have a second, Mr. Maniscalco. In discussion? In discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Viera,
Yes.
Petro,
Yes.
Dingfelder,
Yes.
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
And Goods.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Massey, for that. We'll move to
Absolutely.
information reports and new business, CRA members. Mr. Vieira?
None, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Dingfelder?
Nothing, sir. I just wanted to congratulate Michelle and Rob and our city staff, real estate, everybody who worked on this acquisition. I think it's very, very exciting. I'll give a shout out to my friend Joe Citro, who pushed pretty hard for downtown workforce housing, and this looks like a good opportunity. So congrats to all.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Maniscalco?
No, sir. Thank you very much for your leadership today.
Carlson?
No, sir. Thank you.
Citro?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. Thank you, Councilman Dingfelder. Yes, this has been a request not only by myself, but a lot of people that are working downtown and a lot of people that live downtown that are looking for affordable and workforce housing so they don't have to live out in East County or North County. So thank you, Councilman Dingfelder. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to all the members of this board.
Mr. Miranda?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
Thank you all, gentlemen. I think this is a great concept. Glad that Mr. Citro was one of the ones to really push hard for this. I know we're all pushing for affordable housing. I don't really like that word because there's so many assets. When you're looking at what affordable is, I think it'll be a great asset to have this project come downtown. You'll have a workforce that's diverse in downtown already, but be able to have a diverse area that people can live, work, and play. So I'm very happy about this. If there be no other items, move to receive and file.
Oh, Maniscalco.
Motion, Ms. Maniscalco, second by Ms. Miranda. Roll call.
Viera, Viera, Citro,
Yes.
Yes, Citro.
Dingfelder,
Kingfelder, yes.
Maniscalco,
Yeah.
Miranda,
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
And Goods.
Yes,
Motion carried unanimously.
we are adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.